afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Press Box. This is John Carter, and today we're joined by head coach Denny White, Riley Gleason, and Brendan Marino from the St. Clair varsity baseball team. Really nice to have you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Our pleasure.
And Coach, really another good season from St. Clair. Really strong record so far. But I want to ask you a little bit about your background. How did you get involved in coaching baseball, and how did you get to St. Clair coaching baseball?
A long time ago, I was a first-year teacher in a town on the west side of the state, Newaygo, 1970, and they had a football, baseball opening. So they kind of came together with the teaching job. And then I came back here, and my son was in Little League, so I helped that. And then I had a chance to be an assistant at SC4. So I was that for several years, and I had been friends from high school with Rich Malowitz, who was the St. Clair coach at the time. And I was scouting a couple of his players for the community college, and he said, why don't you come and help me? And that was in 1988, so I did, and I'm still here.
That's amazing. So I couldn't even answer. How many is that years? 28, is that?
Yeah, it's 29, but yeah.
That's amazing. So you started
started at 2.
Yeah, a lot of it working with pitchers. How does that help you now as a head coach?
I'm still the only one that works with the pitchers. Bill McElrath, who was the coach before me, works with the hitters and the fielders, as does Mike Boulard and Scott Young. And Bill and I simply traded titles. We still do exactly the same thing we did before for the previous 9 years. So it's a title change, that's all it is.
I got to ask you, I mean, so, you've seen obviously many years of Tiger managers. Are there any Tiger managers you learned a lesson from, maybe back to Mickey Cochran or somebody?
Maybe Billy Martin.
Yeah.
No, I really like Jim Leland. I think that he's a player's coach, and he was fairly stoic, but you knew there was a lot that was going on at the time. So yeah, I enjoyed him, and Osmus I wish he was less stoic. And after last night, I guess he is less stoic.
It's a good lead-in, and just curious, how do managers kind of affect the game? In a football team, or can call a play, or a basketball coach can call a play or call a timeout. Can't really do that in baseball. How do you fire up your team or get your team into it while you're actually in a game?
I think it's a huge difference between the Tigers and high school. That there are things that they do with the Tigers that we would never consider doing because we would lose our job.
Yeah.
Like last night, as an example, that's simply not tolerated. That's not something you do because you're trying to be an example. I'm not sure. It depends on the team. There are some teams that come in excited, and you have to be calm. Mm-hmm. And there are some times that they're way too flat, and you have to encourage them to be more excited.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the team this year. I mean, what are some of the things your team does really well this year?
It's a great team. It's a solid get-together team. There's no animosity. Who plays, and the players on the bench are extremely supportive of anybody in the game. I think our defense is really strong. Our pitching is good. And Coach McElrath always used to say, you win games with hitting, but you win championships with defense and pitching. So I think we're really strong on the pitching and defense part.
It's been a little bit of a change that I've seen in the way they format the schedule now with these 3-game series. And I know you and I have talked about it. I think it's an intriguing way of going about high school baseball. It seems fairer for the strong teams. Has that worked out well?
I think that's well said. It's fairer for the strong teams. It used to be if we played Northern, as we did last night, if we played them last night, we wouldn't play them again for 3 weeks. And if they were the second-place team and we were the first-place team, then without question, your number one pitcher would pitch both games. And so then they changed the schedule and went to a Monday, Wednesday. So you played the same team Monday and Wednesday and someone else on Thursday. And then they decided that worked well, but they wanted to expand the league schedule. So now we play the same team Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. And if you don't have a strong pitching staff, you're going to be in trouble.
And you're blessed this year with 3 excellent starters, and that helps a lot, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think you've done very well. You've won most, if not all, those series so far this year, correct?
Yes, yep. Up until this week, and this is the last week of the regular season, we've won every series.
That's excellent.
Swept a couple and won the rest.
And that really, I think, and certainly when you think about the pros, they always look to win series.
That's what they're trying to do.
You can't win every game. There's too many games. And I guess that's the last question for you in this part of the show is, it just seems like there's a lot of games this year. I mean, how do you prepare? I mean, it's hard even, I think, to have a practice now.
That's an excellent point. We talk about that you're allowed by the MHSAA 38 scheduled games. We play 33 or have scheduled 33. It's difficult to do because you're using your number 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 4 in the league games. And so the weekend tournaments are a chance for everybody to play, but it's havoc on the pitching staff.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, guys, let's talk about you, Riley and Brendan, and I mean, you guys are both kind of the upperclassmen. What are some of the things you do, Riley, to help out with the younger players in the team?
The thing that we normally do is we just try to go up to play with confidence. Like, we're just trying to be more confident than everyone else. Lead by example for everyone. Play in the field with confidence. We tell all of our younger guys, you just got to be confident. And that's mainly the big thing.
Baseball really is a lot about that. If you think you can hit, and so on.
Right.
If you don't, you can't. So, Brendan, how did you start playing baseball? What did you do?
Ever since I was like 5 years old, I've been playing baseball, and like I was hitting baseballs in the side yard with my dad, and ever since then I've been playing baseball. And I grew up in St. Clair. I've been playing baseball ever since then. It's just been a great experience.
Did you come up through the Little League here as well?
Yep.
And played on that? So, I mean, I always ask this of players, who did you look up to when you were like in 5th, 6th grade, Riley, on the team?
When I was younger, I actually looked up to Scott Young.
Okay.
Because we're both catchers, and it's kind of fun because he's taught me so much, and he's one of our coaches. So.
Okay. How about you, Brendan? Who was your favorite growing up?
I always looked up to Jared Toby, and because I always grew up with Jared, and he was just like that older brother that I have like never had, and he's always pushed me to be better, and he was just a great baseball player in general.
Yes.
And I always wanted to be like him.
Absolutely. Riley, you're the catcher. One of the more challenging positions on the field. What do you think you do best as a catcher?
I probably block the ball the best. It's very difficult blocking the ball, obviously. I mean, holding runners on, getting in the dirt, getting right back up, very difficult at times.
What's the from your perspective? Would you rather play against a team that bunts a lot or that tries to steal a lot? What fits better into your wheelhouse?
I'd probably like teams that bunt more.
Okay.
Why? Much easier to defend. Holding runners on with pitching and catching, because so much has to go right with teams that run a lot. So,
what do you aim for as a catcher throwing out runners in high school? I'd be curious to know what percentage you like to get out on something like that.
I usually like to shoot around like 50%. That's my goal every game. Go 50%.
Good. Brendan, I understand you're one of the key utility players. How do you prepare when you don't know what position you're going to play every day?
Honestly, I just kind of like see Coach White throughout the day and ask him, hey, what's the position for the day? And,
do you have a favorite?
I like second base, but third base is where I start most of the time, and I like more adapt to that, and I think it's a lot better than second base.
What's the challenge at third base?
It's fast. It comes real quick, and like you gotta make sure you field the ball, and because you don't have as much time as you do at second base, and that's where I've been mostly like playing up until high school, and I just like gotta make sure everything's right and get the ball there fast.
So you're, I guess, the leading hitter on the team this year, Brendan. So what do you attribute that to? I mean, what do you think you do best as a hitter?
This year, since I committed to play baseball like for my future, and like it really like relieved me and like my mental game, because Coach White stresses the mental game extremely. Like he makes sure that we're confident. We make sure that we're not overthinking everything, and it's just the confidence. The whole thing is basically confidence. Just you gotta believe in yourself, and that's what I did. Like last year, I didn't believe I could hit the ball, and we're here now, and I'm leading hitter. So.
Okay. What's your favorite pitch to hit?
Fastball, first pitch fastball.
First pitch fastball, load up and go after it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's probably good advice, right?
Yeah.
Look for a fastball, adapt to a curve.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, right, I got to ask you, on the pitching staff this year, who's the toughest one to catch?
The toughest one to catch is my man, Brennan.
And why is that?
Sometimes his curveballs get in the dirt a little bit. It's hard to block, but we get it done.
So the other thing I always like to ask, you've been obviously on the baseball team for a while. You've known Coach White for probably most of the time you've been on it. Can you tell when he's getting a little nervous or a little bit upset in the dugout? How can you tell?
Oh, you can go, Riley.
He gets like this look in his eyes. His voice gets really deep.
He becomes a lot more sarcastic with you, and he kind of like struts more out to the field, and he looks like he's gonna maybe punch you in the face, but it's all right. It's all out of love.
Yeah. So is there a classic Coach White comment when he comes to the mound when you're not having a good inning?
How you doing?
Really?
How you feeling? That's it. And that gets you a big smile on his face and kind of like lightens the mood a little bit, and it really does. It like makes you feel like a lot better about yourself.
Because again, there's pressure, right? That both, particularly pitchers and catchers who were involved in every single play, 3 and 2 or whatever, and bases loaded, and can't let the ball get behind you. Sometimes that relief of pressure is a good thing, right?
Yeah, he just brings down everything. He makes sure your heart rate's down. He like, I don't know, he's like a teddy bear. Nice teddy bear.
So, Coach White, that's a great segue. Back to you. I know you had a tough game last night. The weather conditions were a little difficult. Where do we stand right now? What's the story with the league?
We're a half game out of first place behind Anchor Bay. Anchor Bay plays Utica, which is half game behind us. They have 2 more games. We have 2 more games with Port Huron Northern. So if we win 2 and Utica could beat Anchor Bay, we'll end up tied.
Okay.
Which is a pretty good deal because there's 6 teams in the league and 4 of them are Class A teams. So that's who we played.
Is that playing up? Is that a strategy on your part?
It's not really a strategy because the league adjusts our position or our division. But we play, of the 33 games, we play 23 of them against Class A schools because we've learned over a period of time that if you play the better competition, when the districts and the state playoffs come, that there's an advantage there that you've played really good teams.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So that's kind of, we got the league coming up. Is this the last regular season week then for the league?
Yes.
Okay.
There's 2 more games.
And that kind of settles that. When do districts start?
May 31st is a pre-district because there's 5 teams in our district, so we have to get down to 4. So this year we drew a pre-district. We play Algonac on May 31st.
Okay. And then where are the districts located?
At Richmond. And the winner of our game, the winner of the pre-district game plays Richmond on Saturday at 10 o'clock, June the 4th.
So do you have a little bit of a scouting report? I mean, those both are BWAC teams. Do you know much about them at this point?
We've played Algonac.
All right.
Yeah. No, we don't have a real big scouting report on Richmond. We spend a lot of time on our own stuff and figure that the better we do what we can do, that we'll be fine.
Sure. I mean, it's not like football or basketball where you're
yeah,
playing
it's
against
not
a team.
it's not like you can adjust the outfielders like the pros do because we don't have any of that information.
Right. Yeah. So who else do you think will be tough in the district though?
Everybody's tough once you get to the district, but Richmond is particularly tough.
They've been good for a couple of years.
They have. Yeah.
They've got a very good baseball program.
They've been state runner-up twice. And they were ranked last year, and we beat them in the district. And we're ranked this year, so they're after us anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, again, going back, you have a little bit of time. What kind of preparation will you do in order to get ready for the districts in that week or two between?
We play we play 5 Class A teams in the interim, so we're trying to just stay sharp
Okay.
and competitive. And if we play like we're capable, we'll be fine.
Okay. The other thing, you're still involved with the Little League. Why? I mean, and obviously, head varsity coach, big commitment of time, but you still come down to Little League Park, and I know you were helping with the team last year. You know, why still involved in Little League at this point?
I enjoy it, and the kids have fun, and I encourage these guys to become involved too, because we do a clinic in the wintertime, and if you had the opportunity to see how the little kids look up to these guys, it's remarkable. And we always talk about, remember when you were younger? This was you looking up here, and you get to be the example.
Yeah. So tell you guys, can you chime in? I mean, what's that mean when you see someone who's maybe a younger version of yourself to you?
Just brings back old memories. It's kind of cool because when we were talking about the clinic, it's just because everyone's like, oh my God, they're St. Clair varsity baseball players. It's just a really cool feeling because you know, like, you're a role model.
Uh-huh. What about you, Riley? What you like about it?
It's honestly such a great feeling giving back to everyone. I was definitely there. I remember Brennan. He was my partner all the time. Yeah, we were there for sure.
Well, and I think it's one of the things. We had Jamie Haslam from the Little League on last week, and he basically said that there's just been a tremendous tradition and legacy with St. Clair with baseball from Little League through an awful lot of good players, great success for a number of years, and obviously being carried on, had an excellent team last year and another terrific season this year. So I want to congratulate you guys on what you've accomplished so far. Obviously, good luck both in the league with Port Huron Northern come up and again at the districts. Looking forward to seeing that and bringing home the title again for the districts for St. Clair.
Should be exciting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brendan, Riley, Coach
Thank you.
White, thanks again for coming on. This is John Carter. Press Box today. Thanks again for coming and joining us. We'll see you again next week.